Excuse me. Hello everyone, this is G and I'm back with another video. So this one is going to be a quick and easy video. And I'm not in the mood to be on camera, so no camera. But this is going to be very quick and easy because this is peak looking for attention. And I know that. But if Miss Rodrigo wants attention, I shall give it to her. Now, I will try to be a little understanding because she is only 18, but this claim of she once thought only white girls could be pop stars is simply, I don't believe it for a second that this is an actual thought that she had. Because if she's 18 now, that means she would have been born in 2003. Interestingly enough, when I was about 17, 18 years old. So while I am the ripe old age of 36 now, I still do have a decent memory of the music and the artists who were popular at that time. And well, a good chunk of them were not white women. Right? But anyway, let's go into this article. Right? It's from 3 days ago. Right? So it says Olivia Rodrigo thought that only white girls could be pop stars. Oh, honey, do you listen to music? Because throughout the history of American pop music, including genres such as rap and rock and roll and R&B, there have been plenty of people who have achieved stardom who were not white. Ever hear of Whitney Houston? Ever hear of Prince? Ever hear of like pretty much nearly every R&B singer from the 80s and 90s and going well into the 2000s? Like Usher? But let's continue. Right, so Filipino-American singer Olivia Rodrigo once believed only white girls could aspire to be pop stars. I will admit, looking at her, I had no idea she was Filipino. I legit thought she was like a Latina, like Mexican or something. But then again, the Spaniards coming over to the Philippines, there's a lot of Latino-ish in there. Okay, but Olivia Rodrigo knows the impact she has on fans of color. Okay, as if other artists have never had impact on fans of color. I mean, we never had this guitarist back in the 60s named Jimi Hendrix. I mean, Jimmy was a white dude, right? Jimi Hendrix was a white man, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Oh, wait. He was black. But anyway. Revealing in a new Q&A that she herself once believed only white girls could be recognized as true pop stars. Oh? I'm assuming she never heard of Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Christina Aguilera, Pink, who I think is Latino or has some Latino heritage. Let's see, there was Maya. There were so many non-white stars, right? And that's just the women. You look at the men again, like Usher. There was 50 Cent. I think his career was taken off. You had Nelly, the rapper, and then you had Nelly Furtado, the female singer, right? I'm like a bird. And then you had Khalees, right? My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and all that other stuff. So, really, really, really. And of course, you had legends who were still around, like Janet Jackson, who, last I checked, is not white. But anyway, says when Saturday Night Live star Bowen Yang asked the brutal singer how her Filipino American background factors into how she approaches her career, she said it's something incredible to think about. Okay, that's fine. If the argument had been there hadn't been many Asian uh, pop stars or rock stars in American music or in the American pop scene, I could agree with her because K-pop didn't really start taking off until a few years ago. It certainly wasn't well known or popular back in the early 2000s. But even then, the world's biggest and best known Asian rock star still continues to be Freddie Mercury, right? Continuing, right? I sometimes get DMs from little girls being like, I've never seen someone who looked like me in your position. Let's scroll back up. I've seen plenty of girls who look like her in her position. I've seen plenty of dark-haired, light-skinned girls, right, in her position. But anyway, let's continue. Right. She says, and I'm literally going to cry just thinking about it. Rodrigo 18 said in the V magazine feature. I don't know if that's V or 5. It could be the Roman numeral 5 or it could be V. I don't know. I feel like I grew up never seeing that. Also, it was always like pop star. That's a white girl. Oh? You assume that just because Britney Spears was a big star at the time, that the only pop stars at the time were white women? Again, all those people I just listed were big names at the time. You also had this this 3-person, sometimes 4-person girl group at the time. Oh, Jesus, what were their names? Oh, Destiny's Child. You had Destiny's Child. Of course, their lead singer Beyonce would eventually go on to have an amazing career of her own, right? But yes, it was only white women who were promoted and made stars at this time. Mm-hmm. Sure, honey. Sure. Right. Those those stars of color, right? Entertainers of color, totes didn't exist, right? You didn't have Ciara. you you didn't have, what was her name? Tweet. I think she was working with Missy Elliott, or just Missy herself, right? You didn't have those artists back then, honey. Just because you don't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And honestly, given that you were born in '03, which means you've grown up in the age of the internet more than even I have, because I came of age in the 1990s. So we were still in this transition period, but you were born in '03. So you've had the internet all your life. So this is absolutely no excuse, and this is why I don't think for a second you're telling the truth. Right? And keep in mind, since again she was born in '03, this means that Aaliyah, right? The black, you know, uh, uh, pop and R&B star who had sadly passed away 2 years earlier. People were still talking about her and mourning her. We're still talking about and mourning her to this day at this time, because it is sadly around this time that she met her unfortunate end in a plane accident, plane crash. Honey, don't say things that are clearly untrue. Don't. Don't. You just make yourself look silly. I get it. You're a pop starlet. You're young. Your handlers are trying to make sure you get some attention. But believe me, the type of attention that you're getting being mocked online by people older than you, who have been there, who lives through it, not the attention that you want, really, honey. But anyway, says these days, however, Rodrigo is grateful that the music biz no longer forces artists to be confined by certain genres, at least not to the extent she witnessed growing up. Oh? Because there were plenty of crossover artists in music since the beginning of American pop music. Plenty of hell. One of the biggest crossovers was when Aerosmith. No. What happened was Aerosmith had the song "Walk This Way." Run DMC covered it, and then and then Aerosmith covered Run DMC, right? And that was what became the hit version of "Walk This Way." And if you're gonna want to bring it a little more up to that particular point, right? You had artists like Jesus, let me see. You had artists like the whole rap rock thing that was popular at that time, Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit. They were blending genres, right? So please stop acting as if you've never heard of a crossover pop star. A lot of the Latino stars at the time, J Lo, Ricky Martin, Enrique Iglesias, and many others, were crossover stars. They were hits in Latin America, and they were hits in on the regular pop music scene. So, girl, please stop. Or otherwise, I'm gonna have to play some Prodigy, and you're not gonna be a big fan of the song that Prodigy is best known for. We'll just put it that way. Okay, but it says here, I am so inspired by so many different genres of music. I love country music so much. Okay, that's great. And I love rock music so much. Awesome. So do I. Though I wonder what you call rock, because given your age, you would have grown up with bands like The Killers and Coldplay and Muse as being your definition of rock. And well, mine is a bit different. But anyway, and obviously pop music is my favorite. Okay, and these genres have all crossed over with each other for literal decades, long before you were alive. So what is your point? The Disney star said. And another thing that I think is real special is that in 2001, I feel like artists aren't really boxed into a genre anymore. Artists have been and always will be boxed into a genre, but there's always been plenty of crossover, and there always will be. I look at someone like Billie Eilish, who I'm so obsessed with, and her music is like pop, but it's kind of rock too. I find Billie Eilish to be a bit more emo. It's kind of like the new version of Lorde, but okay, whatever. I really wouldn't call her rock and roll personally, but if you like her music, that's fine. Just don't make clearly erroneous statements about the music that came before. That's all I ask. Rodrigo also discussed the pressures of being a pop star today and the ageism that comes with it. There's this pressure for young women in pop music. There's pressure for women in pop music 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Sadly, there will always be pressure on both sexes, really, but especially in the music business to live up to a certain image and be desirable to the public, right? And especially with women, you cannot age in the public eye. A man can age in the public eye, and if he ages well, he's a silver fox. Most women in the public eye don't have that luxury, even if they age well. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that's how it is. That is the business you are in, dear. Understand that. It's by no means reasonable or healthy, but it'll make you a lot of money. And it's like this thing where you're only successful if you're under 30. Shirley Manson can still get people to come to the concerts, but yeah, because again, Hollywood works on youth, right? Forever young. So yeah, they're always going to push people who are under 30, but there are plenty of artists, right, who are, if they're savvy enough, can carry their careers well into their 30s and 40s. Isn't Miley Cyrus around 30 now? She's still doing well. Madonna's freaking 60. Cher is 70. And they're icons. But if you think of them personally, you can't deny the fact that their presence is still felt. Beyonce is what, 40 or close to it? As is Britney Spears. They still have good careers. Mar- Mariah Carey is still around. She's still making music. She's still performing, as is Celine Dion. And those women are well past their past 30 at this point. So you may want to, again, reconsider what you're saying. I've always resented that because I think I'm just going to get better with age. As you should. You should totally think that. That should be your goal, to be like fine wine, improve with age. The High School Musical, the series. Okay, no, that's just too much. Really, High School Musical, the series. Okay, now somebody really should have thought of a better title for that, right? Actress asserted. You know what I mean? Yes, because I've quite literally seen your type over and over again in my near 40 years of life. I get it. You're just lacking experience because you're young. I'm just going to become a better songwriter. That's a good goal to have. And know what I want to say more. That makes sense. You'll eventually break away from the record label. And you'll want to forge your own path, which will probably include hypersexing your image. She added. I think that's actually a really fun, exciting part of being in the space that I'm really encouraged to sort of have different eras and reinvent yourself. Again, my dear, Madonna. She's literally referred to as the mother of reinvention. Okay, I get it. You are young, but honey, you are not the first or last pop starlet. Okay, so please stop. Statements. You wonder why people get upset? Because statements like this, it's like, girl, no. Girl, bye. Okay, no one believes you when you say stuff like this. Especially when it's easily disprovable. TRL was still on MTV at the time. Plenty of artists from different genres and different ages, even back in 2003 when I was 18, right? They were they were popular. They were well known. TRL used to have everything from the Backstreet Boys to Korn with "Freak on a Leash" to Nelly Furtado to everything. So, girl, please stop, stop. This is clearly just to get attention, but I think you might be getting the attention you don't want. Again, right? As the saying goes, right? You can either stay silent and be thought a fool, or open your mouth and prove everyone right. But anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good day, night, wherever you are. Bye.